Hello, students. It's nice to say hello again to all of you. Finally, we are starting our second part of the course, and the second part of this course starts with Unit 10, in which we are going to be talking about food. I think it's going to be an interesting unit, and let's start digging into it. The first aspect or part that we are going to check in terms of grammar is about the gerund. What is the gerund? Probably you have heard about the gerund. Well, you know what the ing ending is in English, right? It's very common. We all learn that certain verbs, some verbs in English, we put them ing and we create a new conjugation of the verb. And that is basically what we call the gerund, right? So the gerund is when we conjugate or we add the letters ing at the end of a verb. We know that there are some rules about using the gerund when we use them on certain verbs. Sometimes we need to modify, sometimes we need to change, but in general, we just put ing at the end of the verb. That is the gerund. The gerund is the ending ing. So for example, we have cook, and then with ing or in gerund, we have cooking. We have study, and then we have studying. We have learn, and if we put ing, we have learning, and buy, we have buying. Now, most of the time, we associate the ing with a structure in English, which is the continuous form, right? Or the progressive form. And we have studied this as well. So, for example, have some sentences here. And in those sentences, we are including ing in the verb to create the present continuous or the continuous form, right? So I'm buying a carton of milk. We're studying English right now. Remember that the present continuous or the continuous forms, the progressive forms, indicate activities or actions that are occurring at the moment of speaking, or that they are occurring during a period of time. They are in progression. They continue occurring. But let's not be confused, okay? In order to create sentences in progressive form, we need a complete structure. We need verb to be, and we also need to conjugate the verb in gerund. But only gerund, ing, the gerund as we know it, ing, right? Like this, that is not present continuous. When a verb is in ing, doesn't represent all the time present continuous. Remember that for present continuous, we need a subject, we need verb to be, and then we need the verb in gerund. So the gerund only is not present continuous. The gerund is a form of the verb. Verbs can take many forms in English, and the gerund is one form of the verb. And the gerund can be used in many different structures, not only continuous forms or progressive forms. So let's check what are those different structures in which we can use the gerund. The first one is the continuous forms or the progressive forms. Present continuous, past continuous, future continuous, present perfect continuous, etc. All the continuous or progressive tenses. But there are other ones. We can use the gerund with ing when we have activities that are subjects of a sentence. For example, cooking is my favorite hobby. In this case, I'm starting a sentence, and cooking is not the verb. Remember that we mentioned that we use gerund with verbs, and we know that a verb is the action of a sentence, right? But in this case, cooking is not the verb of the sentence. Which is the verb of the sentence? Can you identify the verb of the sentence? The verb is, right? So cooking is the subject. So I'm using the phrase cooking as a subject. In this case, when the activity of a sentence is the subject, I need to use the gerund. So I need to use the verb or the activity and then put ing. So in this case, cooking is my favorite hobby. Sometimes we say to cook is my favorite hobby or cook is my favorite hobby. That's not correct. We need to put ing to have a correct sentence. So cooking is my favorite hobby. Eating healthy is good to your body. Learning English keeps your brain active. In all those examples, I'm using a gerund form because the activity is the subject of the sentence. That is one of the most important uses of the gerund. Think about it. Now, there are other ones, and we remember those ones, right? We most of the time use a gerund form when we use the verbs love, hate, like, enjoy, and adore. When we use those verbs, the next activity or the next action or the next verb most of the time goes in gerund or with ing. So I say I hate watching romantic movies. I enjoy going out with my friends. Juan likes reading novels. I love speaking in English. After hate, love, like, enjoy, and adore, if we put another verb, remember to put that verb in gerund form. That is the second one. And there is one more. We always use a gerund form when we have a preposition and then a verb. So, I'm interested in. In is the preposition. So you're interested in what? The next activity is in gerund. I'm interested in learning. We don't say I'm interested in learn or I'm interested in to learn. That's incorrect. We use the verb, but we put it in ing because we have a preposition. So I'm interested in learning more about exotic animals. Tere is very good at preposition and then gerund, memorizing bird names and species. And Daniel received extra points for, that's the preposition, answering correctly. So remember, the gerund is a form of a verb, and the gerund can be used in many different structures in English. We normally use it in the continuous or progressive tenses, but we can also use it when we have activities as the subject of the sentence, after verbs that indicate likes and dislikes, like in section B, and after prepositions in English. That's it about the gerund. Thank you very much and see you on the online sessions. Goodbye, everybody.